Hi Rajiv, good afternoon, and it's absolutely an honor to see you here, Rajiv. And for someone we've all grown up seeing on TV, ये आजकल मेरे को सबसे ज़्यादा miss है. Nowadays, that's all I hear from people. I was in school, I was in college, and a lot of people that come up, and I'm like, this person actually for me like it's usually, listen, my dad is a huge fan. So I think very soon it'll be my granddad is a huge fan. I think an absolute honor to see you, Rajiv. I'll start with I think with the context of your journey from TV to social. Um, Someone who's seen it pivot from NDTV, TV, and someone, and that time there were not too many voices, right? You would go there, review a gadget, and that pretty much used to become the tone of the country in a way. Was there a pivotal moment where you told yourself that, hey, Rajiv, now there's a shift. Let me also kind of be a part of this navigation and change something the way I look at it? Or it was very organic in the way you've seen it?
So it's interesting. You're totally right. When the journey started off, Gadget Guru Show was the world's first tech show, not India first or something, but the world's first tech show on television. And that time, mostly tech was about buying a PC World or some magazine, very dense, very you had to be a complete nerd and a geek. That was your fix, right? To come into a news channel which actually had lifestyle programming, and to do a show like Gadget Guru, BBC, CNN, others followed. So I think that in itself is a very proud moment for us that we created that. But I think far more pivotal in our journey at that time was that we took a different approach. We took an approach of consumer first, right? Which is what everyone talks about today. But that show was consumer first. We didn't want to do, platform se baith ke talking to people down and saying, listen, I know it all, let me teach you. It was a lot to do with, I tried it. This is what I like, this is what I didn't like, this is what you may or may not like if you tried. Here's a gadget to buy, and most importantly, and again, we'll come back to this, what not to buy. And I think is a very, very important power that must be used now. It's the least used power by creators and influencers today. कि सबके लिए सब कुछ ये बहुत अच्छा हो गया, right? It's become the greatest problem. We used to call a spade and say, fantastic device, but just not right for the Indian market. Just not right for this kind of a use. That made a very big difference. So the voice of credibility, I think, made a big difference. And the pivot, right? It's been not organic. It has been strategized. It has been very clearly thought out. It always sounds, to use the word, sexier to say, listen, it happened organically. It's the same thing as, an actor saying, मैं तो नाइट क्लब में था और डायरेक्टर ने मेरे को आके just cover कर लिया. And the real story is that he may have gone to 200 directors. So there was no organic thing. This is nothing. This has been strategized. We worked out. A lot of people say you came in late. I completely disagree with that. It's when I started to realize that the power of one platform is waning, and the other platform is way more important because of one reason: engagement. On television, when we started off, our way of engaging was एक show करो, उसके बाद एक घंटा me and my team would sit in front of our computer saying कितनी emails आती है. That was our way of saying, was the show a success? And if you used to get 30 emails, it was a very big thing. It was a huge thing that 30 people saw a television show, noted down an email, went to a computer, actually emailed us. It was huge.
Very, very nice.
And the only way to interact or engage was to answer them back, right? Or take their questions in the next show 7 days later. That engagement has always been a very important part. And today, this engagement is what really fuels my passion, because I can literally interact with people now live on a live stream, on comments within 30 seconds of a video coming out. It's a very, very major power. So yeah, Spider-Man has his powers. Engagement is the power of all creators. Again, very poorly used, right? Most people think, put a video out, get 1 million views, and दो लोगों को answer कर दो, and the rest of the job is done. It's a very poor way of handling those, lakhs of people that actually wrote to you. So I think that's an important part, right? And the strategy part of it is very simple. When maybe 2010 का एक statistic है that at that time screen usage was 1 hour. Today it is 7 hours. But TV watching is less than 20 minutes. So where did that rest of that audience go? If 6 hours and 40 minutes of it is being used on products other than television shows, then it's very important to be where your audience is. So we are not creating in a vacuum, right? There is purpose है why we are doing it. And that is for audience. Again, anyone that says, I do it because of the goodness of my heart or because I love myself on screen, and they're living a pretty foolish life. You're doing it for audience. You're doing it for people to watch you, see you, like or dislike is fine, right? So it's been very strategized that this platform is almost dead. I need to move on to others. I could have also started a YouTube channel in 2016, 17, when a lot of other people did. I didn't see any purpose.
So when you saw a real shift around COVID?
No, I saw a real shift around 2019-20 when the power of this platform was very... See, if you see 2014-15 videos on tech, they were very, very crude. There was nothing being put out there that we on television were not already doing. Most of it is all copycat, right? We started off the whole idea of an unboxing to give a feel. Okay, we've got this gadget. It's been sent to us by the brand. If you were to buy it, here's what the box is. You know, when you open it, this is what the feel is. That emotional connect was something we started. So if it's just the same thing, why am I going to switch platforms for it? I only would do it. We created the first television show on tech. I was the first person to do tech on radio, the first person to write for a lifestyle magazine on tech. So why would I be doing something which is, अच्छा चलो अब ये भी कर लेते हैं? There is a need to do something dramatically different, and that came to me in 2019-20, that this platform is now important. This is where the people are. Let me not kind of fool myself that I can do it wherever I like.
But do you think with this navigation, Rajiv, now comparing this with maybe 7-8 years ago, it's become a lot more challenging for the brands because it's become a lot more democratic, right? If the way we look at it, maybe 15 years, 20 years ago, a brand wants to go very popular, hire a known director, get a mainstream TV slot booked. And if you look at some of the ads today, literally you laugh that what was the creativity here? Nothing, right? Now you look at today where such a navigation has happened, it's the way I look at it, it's become so democratic. Like, I may be a small brand in Punjab and I can take a vernacular, Punjabi speaking influencer, create my own lovely content, maybe use AI to write my scripts and target that area with my ads at a very minimal cost and still influence a certain radius of a consumer, right?
One, absolutely. And second, thank God. Because you do not need to be having a multi-crore campaign. You do not need to have a team of 40 people. You do not need to have, sometimes now also when I go for shoots that are done by a big brand, I'm just shocked at the number of people on set. And I'm like, someone somewhere needs to wake up. Case mein se 80% people are redundant. They're there. I hope their jobs don't go away. But everyone needs to wake up to the fact that you're only basically doing old school things to justify a bigger budget. You can do it in a much cheaper manner, much better way, to use a much leaner team, much better new companies with a greater amount of technology to be used. And running away from technology is the worst way to handle the future, right? So you've got to embrace all the things that you said and all the things that we use that, we're a very, very small team. We produce maybe 800, we did this number, I think about 3 months back. We create 800x more minutes of video internally. 800, not 80, not 10x, 800x more with a team that is about 14, 15 people than I was creating earlier with a team of 80 people.
Wow.
800x. That's not a small number to it. And I think it's fantastic today. A great product, a great person, a person that has got something to say or do can get a larger audience, a relevant audience, if he's smart about it. But I don't think very many people are smart about it. Especially bigger brands are not.
But will it be fair to say advertising on digital, which the main platform, has become a lot more democratic now?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I sometimes when I'm sorry if I'm going against newspapers and others, but I've never really understood when I see big full page ads in newspapers, I still really wonder, is it ROI or is it just ego? Because I'm not really seeing that return, right? Because most people are not going to be seeing this full page ad, some multiple lakhs and crores that have been spent, and take a buying decision based on
I
that
think it's a
anymore.
bit of an ego, maybe, but I think from a consumer side, because there is so much content now, I'll say as a consumer, I'm not too print friendly either. But when as a consumer, I see a front page ad of a real estate company or any brand, it makes me feel that these guys are seriously into work because they spent a.
But will you buy from them because of that?
It gives me a feel that maybe they're a serious player, because at times the other challenge with the democratization as we're talking is there's so much content. At times, as a consumer, you're not sure enough whether there is credibility backed by it.
I completely disagree with you on that, because all the engagement and everything else that we see, if you even go out to whether it's the content that we create or other influencers create, or if you go on to Reddit to see, most of the big page ads get a negative view. I mean, there are streams of Reddits where they say, listen, this brand has too much of money. Obviously, we are going to pay for it, right? Built into our price for what we buy. My criteria is कि जब मैं किसी का full page ad देख लेता हूँ, मैं उस brand से नहीं खरीदता.
So you're the opposite of it.
So I'm just saying that a lot of the learning that I'm starting to get, and it's important to follow, what people are thinking. And these Reddit streams are not 100, 200. These are in millions, where they take a full page ad, put it out there saying, okay, guys, this is the brand not to buy from.
But do you think it depends on the ticket size of what you're trying to buy? Maybe it works more with a.
Any brand that uses a very, very large name, a brand ambassador, is going to be paying them big money. Anyone that's taking a very large amount of money and putting it into a huge newspaper ad campaign, 2 page, 3 page, fold out, fold in, jo bhi terms hain, it's not going to be from their pocket. Matlab, eventually, who pays for it? The consumer does, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter if I'm buying a soap, which is 7 rupees, that soap will now sell for 10. Or a fantastic apartment in Gurgaon worth crores, we'll have to pay a few more crores for it, right? So that's my viewpoint.
No, that's an interesting way of looking at it. But
it may be very contrarian to but when I look who's in the business.
When I look at print, especially in Gurgaon, since we're talking here, 90% is real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rajiv, moving on, I think still sticking a little more to the shift. Many of your peers and people you were working with in television around those times didn't make this navigation as much as you did. Anything you think you did unique, or anything some of them missed the boat?
I didn't do anything unique. I did just the normal thing that everyone should have done, which is that you understand that your content will always be king, but platforms dictate how. Right? If you can't understand that on television you can take 23 minutes to tell a story, you still have to tell a story, but the 23 now becomes 1.4 to 2 seconds, 3 seconds, right? Yeah. Your first 3 words matter. Your first sentence matters. 3 times in between a 90-second, this thing, you have to actually keep them engaged for some reason for them to see the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
These are not things that are easy to actually do. So it's not that I'm sure that they didn't try. But sometimes you just cannot. Who you are and how you've told things cannot change. I've always been a storyteller, and I've always loved it. When I've written a column, I've written 200-word columns, and I've written 5-page ones also. When I've done radio, I've understood that my audience is not watching me visually. So my descriptory powers in my radio show were very, very high. I would sometimes take 2 minutes to just talk about the design of a phone, which normally I would say, take a look. This phone has this, and I'm done in 10 seconds, right? So to understand the platform is a very important thing. On radio, if I was to give tips and tricks, most people in my audience would be going to office or coming back. They're not going to be able to say step 1, step 2, step 3. All my tips and tricks on my radio show were a single one. Do this. That's it. I never did 2-step, 3-step, 4-step, because no one's going to remember it, right? Radio audiences want a little bit of humor. So most of the questions that I would take from people were a little ridiculous. Right? A person saying कि should I buy an LCD TV? मैंने सुना है winter में freeze हो जाता है because उसमें liquid है, LCD liquid crystal. So I took those slightly, something which you hear the radio show and go have a coffee conversation when you're near the water coolers, right? So you've got to pivot to audience. You cannot have an ego saying, this is me, this is how I do it, and my audience must come to me where I am. The pivot, it did not happen. So I did nothing unique. All I did was that I went to an audience and I made sure that the audience and the platform and me are in sync. And I did not have any ego about the fact that, how can I, who did 22 minutes and took 7 minutes to set up a story, now have to do it in 1.4, 1.5 seconds. So there was no ego out there. So I just did very normal things which you're supposed to be doing, and some didn't.
I think very organically, audience remained your focus throughout, right?
Storytelling remained my focus, and making sure that whatever I'm doing is helping the audience in some way, whether it's a buying decision, whether it takes what you bought to the next level, whether it's a small little thing saying, if you own this, did you know you could do it? Those wow moments where you've already spent money and you learn something new that you didn't know your gadget could do, actually makes you feel that you've again bought a new gadget. It just completely revolutionizes the psychology of a consumer. So ये एक बहुत बड़ी बात थी, and these are things that we do. We just do it in a different way. I think the storytelling is the same.
Raji, also an important question on this entire navigation. I'll just stick to it for another couple of minutes. Is while look at the NDTV days of yours, I think it was mainly English, right? And that too, I would say, pretty much a metro level communication, right? Tier 1 cities. Now, if you look at influencer marketing as such, or content creation, since that's largely a subject, it's become very heavy, hyperlocal, vernacular. And now when you create content, do you have that in mind? I'm a Doon school, person who's grown up in a certain way. And today the masses are, or the content at a mass level is very, multilingual in its own local language. Do you make a conscious effort now to maybe appeal to a larger audience, or you want to still stick to, that cream, if I may say?
No, absolutely. I think, like I already answered, if you're not where your audience is, then you're basically a dinosaur, right? And when I started off, my first show was only English. My second show was only English. My third show was only English. And then Dr. Pranoy Roy came and said that, look, the mobile show that you do, Cell Guru, has such a great audience. But imagine if you put it on NDTV India. And I said, that's fantastic. Who's going to anchor it? Because I thought, koi hoga Hindi mein se jo karega. And we'd love to work. They said, you're going to do it. And at that time, it struck me as maybe the most difficult thing in the world, because, you're very right that, the overall way, I think in English, I communicate in English, everything is more, and a lot of people say कि तुम्हें बहुत फूंफा है, तुम बड़ी clipped accent से बात करते हो, and all those things. And I really struggled with not the anchoring, but the thought process of anchoring a Hindi show. That what would it do to my image and this thing? Because those were early days. This I'm talking about 2007. At that time, to do an English TV show was all about wow. And to do Hindi news was very, I'm sorry, but I'm going to call it exactly what we called it in the news space. What down market anchor karte the is what we used to call them, right? I really struggled with doing my first show. I remember doing that first show and rehearsing my lines behind the set. Okay, I would write my entire script in English, then have a person who worked with me, TV news anchor whose Hindi was not very difficult, as he used to call it, बहुत सरल तरीके से मेरे को समझाता था. I used to rehearse my lines for every segment. To go behind the set, if this is a set, those were just standing sets in TV studios. I used to go behind, in an area where literally I thought no one could hear me, everyone could hear me. And I'm rehearsing my lines. I used to come back, say it, take 7-8 takes, and finish it off. I was maybe the worst Hindi anchor ever, because in English, I've never used teleprompters. In Hindi, I cannot use a teleprompter because I'm writing it in English and then translating to Hindi. It was very, very difficult. But I've got to say that the first time my show came out on NDTV India, that little number that I gave you, which is 20, 30 emails, exploded to 700 emails
Oh, and the first Hindi show.
on day one. As that show came out, that show exploded. Look, tech in Hindi, never done before. A person actually telling you things कि ये अच्छा है, ये बुरा है, never has happened before. And then that audience is anyway much larger. Taught me the lesson of my life, that go where the audience is. And we changed the show around in the beginning के अच्छा यार हिंदी की ऑडियंस है, फ़ोन ना 5,000 से ऊपर का नहीं होना चाहिए, ये स्पीकर जो है ब्लूटूथ का चिंटी विंटी होना चाहिए, इट शुड बी सम छोटा मोटा. And again, we learned the lesson of our life that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, the audience, they have the budgets, they just don't know whether it's right for them. So a lot of people criticized us in our email saying, "Tumhe kya paas hai? I want to know about an iPhone. I want to know about, Nokia's this phone, which is the most expensive. What are you telling us? Why are you only telling us about feature phones?" So big lessons. Every single time हम लोग ने कुछ अलग किया, big lessons learned from it. Very humbling experience.
Yeah, and now I think in the digital world, I think the language has become even more a relevant conversation because we see a lot of local influencers being so popular in that language in that
100%.
genre.
The future is that in
Yeah.
every which way.
Yeah.
Many times जब लोग बोलते हैं what's the next big thing? I say small is the next big thing.
That's what we've seen brands, talk to us, come to us and say, I need one influencer every pin code. And I need that one influencer in Lakshadweep, one in Andaman, in those pin codes where there is a local connect with what they say.
So while brands may come and say it, and I don't know if all brands do it
Some
or
of
not.
them are. Large FMCGs
So I would say
definitely do, yeah.
it'll be some, because ये awakening बड़े कम brands में है. But मेरे हिसाब से the other big mistake is when they actually say I want one per pin code. Because relatability is one of the most important things to do with the word influence. You influence someone that you relate to, and you are influenced by someone that you relate to. और ये जो फिर blanket वो है कि I want one per pin code. What is the relatability of that product to that person, to that pin code? I think there are multiple mistakes, because what happens is a brand will suddenly realize, "Achha yaar, everyone's talking about this, hyper-local, community-driven." But is that the right person for them? Is that the right person? Is that product right for that community? I don't think anyone is really going that deep in right now. I'm sure you may be having certain brands that do it, but I think it needs a lot more hard work.
I think it's a lot more, you're very right, Rajiv, I agree. I think it's a lot more to do the product also. What product are you trying to place in that certain pin code?
I mean, if a brand comes to me and says, Rajiv, here's the brand, here's the product, and it has absolutely, it may be tech, but it has nothing to do with the kind of things I do, right? I'm making a mistake, the brand is making a mistake, everyone's making a mistake because koi relatability nahi. My greatest regrets are always about relatability, right? And
I agree.
I think when you machine gun fire one pin code per this thing, eventually you're going to be the biggest loser as a brand, because you suddenly gave a product, like I suddenly see, I'm not going to name the brand, one very high-end vacuum cleaner in the hands of a person who is doing very, and I might be following that person because they're doing very chapri type, and the word chapri is being used mainly because in the influencer community there is now a category. People relate to that person because that person is just like the neighborhood boy, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But because he has a good community doesn't mean that anyone cares that he's got that vacuum cleaner in his hand. And I find it ridiculous that the brand doesn't wake up and they do it again the next time. But anyway, I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about
I
these
think
things.
hyperlocal has to be married with the genre of the influencer and what we relate to. Is, I think,
not just hyperlocal. All influencers must be looked at as that, is this the right person for the right product for his or her audience? I find it very, very odd when I try. The cross-platform is great. A travel influencer talking about tech, fantastic. A tech influencer talking about clothes lifestyle, excellent. I think isse zyada, this is the future, right? You don't have to only give me tech. There are many other things that people relate to me. My audience of millions will still be wearing clothes also. They're not going naked to buy an iPhone. They're not going naked to buy a Samsung product. वो कपड़े पहन रहे हैं, right? They are going to be using other things. They are going to go to a hotel to stay. They're not going to be staying in a, in a hut or something. It's a cross plat. But to give me something that has no relatability to me and my audience, I think is the greatest mistake.
Lovely, Rajiv. Moving on, Rajiv, one important point I want to really discuss with you is Defluence. Now, I'll probably name the influencer. There's a very prominent influencer these days called Food Farmer. I think
Bilkul.
If you look at any of our peers working at FMCG, they all know his name even in midnight. Now and there are many like him, but I think he's at the top of the tree right now when it comes to defluencing. I don't know if you've seen his recent work few days ago. A large FMCG brand, which I'll definitely not name, is literally challenging them or threatening take off a product they put as an advertisement in a tiffin box. And I think they did. And after that, he's lunged on again, jumped on them and saying,
देखो मैंने क्या किया.
मैंने कहा था करा है, if you next time take me to the courts, I will give you a bashing in the court as well. While we talk about advertising getting democratic and people have a say and a voice, don't you think defluencing and going after a brand in a certain way needs a bit of a moderation? And what is your honest opinion on that?
तो ये जो पूरा का पूरा कैटेगरी है comes from the same world as the woke community. Okay, for years something very wrong has been done and we are now righting that wrong. But when you're righting a wrong and you swing to the other extreme, then you are now creating a new wrong. और वो कम्युनिटी में भी यही था ना कि women have always been suppressed. Okay, so and so community, the racism has always been a lot more. तो इसको हम जब correct कर रहे हैं, you correct by bringing the needle into the middle, not taking it now to the other extreme. And that is what we are seeing right now. Okay, बहुत ज़्यादा woke के against अब फिर एक नया new extremism comes के बहुत ज़्यादा over correct हो गया, अब हम correct करेंगे, it goes. I think that's what has happened with a lot of uninfluencers, de-influence is that you came in on a crusade. And that crusade is fantastic because brands ne bahut gadbad ki hai with pineapple juice and 0.1% pineapple juices inside. And there are thousands of such examples. वो सबको पता है वो क्या है, right? वो बहुत सालों से बहुत गड़बड़ हुई है. Nutritional values and everything else has been maybe the greatest. And what we put into our bodies must be told to us before we put it in. तो बहुत brands ने बहुत गड़बड़ की है. उसको correct करने के चक्कर में you are now becoming a terrorist becomes a big problem. And a lot of audience people, see what happens is those people that are seeing that kind of a video and commenting out there are usually your cheerleaders. जो लोगों ने आपको देख के unfollow कर दिया, जो they are not a voice, right? They've just moved on के यार he's lost it now or she's lost it now. I think the attitude should always be one of what you start with. Just because आप 2 केस जीत जाते हो, just because आप किसी brand now starts listening to you because the negative publicity is too much for that brand to take, just because एक brand ने वो किया जो आपने बोला, doesn't mean that you tout it, doesn't mean that you threaten, doesn't mean. So this challenge is of no use. I still think ke when and look, he's a good friend of mine. Very good friend of mine. And I'm again putting it out there. I would
love to host him and talk to him.
Oh, sure.
Brands would be very happy to listen to his side of the story.
Correct. Again, my only thing I can say is that he has done absolutely amazing things. He has literally taken on what was untouchable and he needs to course correct a little. He can take a look at his approach, his tonality, his words when he started and go right back. Brands will still listen to him. Brands will still work with him. The threat is the same. Today he threatens a brand. He's doing the same thing that brands threatened him. And therefore, I think there is really nothing that either of them will achieve, because one day there will be a brand that will take him on, he will take them on. Who loses? The community. The people that are actually seeing the changes. It should be for the consumer, not against a brand, right? And that becomes the distincting part.
No, I think I really wish it reaches a middle point, because I think we have dozens of FMCG brands who reach out to us and say that, can this be sensibly moderated up to an extent, because the impact it has on their entire supply chains, is immensely, damaging to their entire.
But the fact that brands are coming and talking to you about it itself is is because the uninfluencer, the de-influencing actually works. So there, हर चीज में एक time and place होता है, and some people are doing it beautifully. Some people are doing it same tonality, same words. Objective should never be lost. Your objective is to get consumers to eat healthy and know what they are putting into their bodies. The objective is not to threaten a brand, right? So I think course correction आएगा उसमें.
Moving on, Rajiv. Now the other side of this, there's a very large perception on the tech influencers now coming to very, your own world, is that whenever there is a new gadget, there is a new phone, mostly the tech influencers via collaboration or organically would say only good things about it, and which has led to also fall in engagement rates in some of the top creators. You're the exception, I would say. I think with our data, we see you have one of the best engagement rates when it comes to the tech creators. But do you think that while one side of the world is bashing defluencing to an extreme, the tech side is just saying all the good things about every launch, where some of the new products we see as consumers, we don't see much change in them or much evolution?
And yet the tech creators are calling it the next big thing.
If you want me to name, iPhone 17. I mean, I am still on 14. And I don't know if you want to comment on it.
No, of course.
But I looked at iPhone 17. My wife has 16. My son has 16. And they were asking me, why are you not upgrading? I said, I don't see a difference. I'm using a 14 Pro for last 3 years. I'm really happy. So iPhone is maybe an example, but most of them are in the same zone. Do you think tech influencers also need to?
100%. And the reason, let's break this question into the two parts you've asked me. Let's start first with what you said, कि tech में लग रहा है जैसे कि no brand today introduces a bad product. No brand even introduces an average product. Every product is as if it is a God phone, God laptop, God this. That is incorrect. That is happening because of collaborations. I'll tell you why it's happening. Even those that are not collaborating are not going to say anything bad because they are waiting for a collaboration to come, right? And this has created a bit of a situation. More people who are not working with brands are saying much nicer things. It's created a very crazy vacuum in the tech space. Ek example le lete hain, iPhone 17 ka, right? So if you see, I was there with Apple, okay, in Cupertino in San Francisco with them for the launch. I've gone for some 18, 19 years. I think I only missed out once in COVID and once later. A certain amount of people are called for it. Supposedly very prestigious to be called for Apple. I didn't realize it till many years. I was just going because it's an interesting thing for me to review. If you see the 3 or 4 pieces of content that I've put out, the first is a first impression. So ना मैं कुछ हाँ बोल रहा हूँ ना बोल रहा हूँ ये amazing है, सिर्फ आपको बता रहा हूँ क्या फ़र्क है. And all the other 3 pieces of content I put out is, should you upgrade to this? Should you not? Here are the reasons to upgrade. Here are the reasons. And whatever I said, if you own a 14, by the way, I said 14, you should upgrade to 17. And I've given reasons why. Okay. वो देख लेना, maybe
14 Pro, I'm on.
Okay. It is all about telling people, don't waste your money, or do put in the money. Here's what you will get. It is a very important thing to think user first. And I'll give you a reason why. Very early in my career, I was at an airport and a fairly aged lady, I would say grandmother, right, came up to me. And at that time I was flying very high, with my Gadget Guru days, कि मेरे को तो लोग पहचान रहे हैं. उस time पे, it wasn't about selfies, it was about an autograph. And so she came up to me, and you can make out from body language कि she's approaching me, and she came up. And I was like, okay, let me, warm up my hand, के selfie, मैंने autograph देना. And she came and blasted me. Because of you, I bought the wrong product. And it wasn't for me. It was for my son's birthday. And I was very taken aback because till now, it was all about recognition, about me doing things no one else has done, the tech guru of the country. Ye, wo bahut,
What did she buy?
She'd bought a phone.
She bought a phone.
For her son, and it didn't turn out to be a good product. That particular phone didn't turn out to be, because what she told me next was कि वो बहुत overheat हो रहा है. So I said, okay. And of course, she said it. I right there and then I called up the brand, replacement करा दिया. But that's a one-off. It taught me such a huge lesson there and then, and something I'm going to reach out to everybody that is watching it. It doesn't matter whether you're doing tech or you're a travel blogger or this thing. The review you put out, the content you put out, objectives बहुत होते हैं. Mainly people say how many views will I get is the most important objective. Or how famous will I get because of the virality? Or how good do I look because I'm doing this particular thing? But never ever forget that what you're putting out, every single view that you get, which piles up to 1 million, is 1 million people watching. People are going to take decisions based on that. Hard-earned money is going to be put in because of what you just said. You go and say कि उस hotel ka buffet is fantastic and the swimming pool is wow. And a person reaches out there and the buffet is horrible and the swimming pool is a small little place. It's a huge hit to that person. I realized then that there are people, and this has happened year after year, month after month, day after day, where people have come and said कि मैंने 1 साल पूरे पैसे बचाए. No, to buy a product. हर रोज, हर महीने मैंने 2,000 रुपए अलग रखे क्योंकि आपने बोला था कि ये बहुत ही अच्छा है मेरी फैमिली के लिए. For my child to study, I bought them this laptop. What a great responsibility that we forget in the quest to put out content.
Yeah.
In the quest to get 1 million views, in the quest to look good, in the quest to do a collaboration for a certain amount of money with the hotel, with the brand, with the product, with this thing. To forget that the people that make you reach a stage where a brand is willing to invite you to a hotel to stay for free or give you a product to review and therefore pay you for that is only because of the people that watched you. And to completely forget that, I think इससे बड़ा error अगर कोई कर सकता है, then that's the reason why tech influencers have no engagement. Because people are no longer taking buying decisions based on that. Tech influencers are either watched for entertainment, एक certain style है, एक certain तरीका है, एक certain aura है. बड़े सालों से उनको वो लोग देख रहे हैं तो फिर से देखना चाहते हैं कि उसने अब आज क्या किया. Some strange thing that they always do, they want to watch it. Sad that you're being watched for entertainment when actually it should be for the product, right? Sad that it's being done for the fact that I've anyway followed you, I'll carry on. लेकिन तुम्हारा कोई influence नहीं है मेरे में अब. I'll never buy a product based on that person's review.
And some of the largest, in the sense of followers, tech influencers, I'll not name a couple of them, their engagement rates are down to 0.1%.
No, even views are point down to that much. Sometimes I think it would be embarrassing for those influencers themselves to say कि मेरे इतने million followers हैं, लेकिन मेरे को 50,000 लोग देख रहे हैं. Right? I think it is important to relook कि आप क्या कर रहे हो. वही unboxings, वही डब्बा खोल reviews, वही चीजें जो आप कर रहे हो. What is the value you're giving? It was amazing in 2016, 14, 17. बट टुडे अगर आप एक अनबॉक्सिंग करके वही बोल रहे हो कि इसके डब्बे की स्मेल ये है, ये येलो कलर बहुत अच्छा है इस डब्बे का, इसमें उन्होंने पैक ऐसे किया है, इट वॉज हैपनिंग इन अ वैक्यूम इन 2014-15 क्योंकि लोगों को हाथ में वो चीज़ें नहीं मिलती थी. टुडे इवन tier 2, tier 3 have very big stores where you can go and see a product, hold it in your hand. What's the next big step? What is it that you can add as a value add to that person's life? And that should be about what is right and what is not. Why you don't want to talk negative, chalo theek hai, but at least talk about why you should upgrade and why you should not. इसमें कुछ negativity नहीं है.
So what you're also saying in one line, if I can summarize this very important question, which is a very new perspective on this, is the fact that tech as a commodity is such a large spender, no one dares to say anything bad, right?
Okay, let's again put it in a different manner,
Yeah.
which is brands that are actually doing a great job with influencers are more in tech than in any other space. Because एक ना wake up call I think 1-2 साल पहले आई थी कि if you are going to come, if X brand wants to work with Rajiv Makhni for a product that is being launched and you come to me with a script, then you don't need me. Right? कोई ज़रूरत ही नहीं है आपकी. मैं क्या, I add no value to you.
Yeah.
I add value to you because I'll be able to give my opinion, my credibility in whatever way, right? If you're going to work with me and say, here is a caption you could use, वो headline में हमारा logo थोड़ा बड़ा कर दो, ये caption में हमारे brand का नाम नहीं आया है, आप you haven't even talked about our product and almost 40 seconds have gone by, then you don't need me. I bring a different perspective, different opinion to the people that are very loyal in my community. ये 1-2 साल पहले बहुत सारे brands learnt more in tech than anywhere else. Because look, I also work with lot of non-tech brands. Maybe there was
a list on the next page.
So yeah, there was someone else who had come to me saying कि more lifestyle brands work with you than I've ever seen with lifestyle influencers. And I'm very happy with that because like I said, I think there is cross-platform work for everybody. But maybe there is some reason why they do. I think it's because of my unique perspective. Ke I am not saying ke come to me and I will say this is a shit product. That is not good. But I will say this is right for whom and why. And this is wrong for whom and why. And उस credibility का जो rub off है उस brand को ज़्यादा मिलता है मेरे से ज़्यादा. Most people still take me to be credible, but when it is a brand working with the influencer, there's very less credibility for the brand. Otherwise, a brand will never need an influencer. वो अपना ही सब कुछ ad बनाएंगे, अपने आप ही करेंगे. You come to an influencer for a purpose. कि it's not brand speak. But आप उनको script दे रहे हो, caption दे रहे हो, तो वो brand speak ही है. And that non-authenticity is very obvious. And I'm not understanding why brands don't understand it. Nothing worse than a fake smile, nothing worse than a brand that is coming up with a fake review. And I think that's where the future really lies.
Is it really tough today to be an influencer, Rajiv? I mean, I was in Bangalore for one of our events and there's a very aspiring young influencer with 10 million followers, and she was on the stage and she said something I can't forget. She said, while all of the world wants to give us protection mentally or legally, because those are the challenges they have, she said, my average screen time is 14 hours because as an influencer, this is what I do all day. And, then there are influencers we unfortunately have spoken to who are ready to take extreme steps because मेरे follower नहीं बढ़ रहे, मेरी engagement गिर रही है. At that time, when it's so hard to also be the influencer today as compared to maybe the past, do you think it's hard to be an influencer? And also at times, couple of large controversies which happened earlier this year, do you think the world goes a little too hard on influencers because they are supposedly a nobody who's become a very large voice today, and a large person sitting in a large room says, यार ये कौन है, मैं बन जाता? And do you think the world has gone too hard on them while they talk about kya content aana chahiye, and we have pan masala ads all over TV and IPL. Do you think world is too harsh on influencers as well because they think ये कौन है यार?
तो पहली चीज़ तो ये है कि whoever that person was on stage who says 14 hours, लेकिन वो ज़रूरी नहीं है. If
What is your screen time? Rajiv?
No, I'm very very cognizant of. मेरे दो बहुत बड़े crusades हैं. Okay, schools and colleges में I talk about. I literally, and here's an offer, any school and college can invite me and I will be more than happy to come there. It's my little give back. And all I talk about is how screen time is ruining your life completely. The one part that I always tell students is कि एक चीज़ बहुत मुश्किल होता है 10 steps to a better life. You know, your doom scrolling is that कोई नहीं करेगा. मैं सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ बोलता हूँ, when you're studying, put your phone away. Okay, away from the room would be great, but otherwise put it at least in a distance. Put it on silent, and सिर्फ 3 दिन करके देख लो. And if you do not have 100% better focus, you can come back. So that's the only advice I give them, and I tell parents about something a little bit different. My screen time is very less. I watch very less of others. Every single piece of content that I put out, okay, from script to the edit. I do not only rely on my team. My mother said this to me a long time back, years back. तब तो मैं article भी नहीं लिख रहा था अपना. She just said one thing to me: whatever you put out in this world, whatever, if it has your name on it, then it should be from you. You can have a 1,000 people team. They can work very hard for you, but वो चीज़ दुनिया में बाहर जाने से पहले should be approved by you, right? I have stuck to that. A lot of influencers, when we sit in a huge group and we actually do have good relationships with each other, people try and create a lot of controversies, but actually, I'm not talking about cross-platform, within tech and outside also, we have great relationships with each other. A lot of people, when they hear this, say, are you mad? You're taking on something. Why don't you build a good team? I think I have the best team. A lot of people tell me, you have an incredible team. But that's just me. I don't want to have a script that someone else has written. I can't say something which is inauthentic. It's not my voice. And I can't show something out to people that is not part of me. So number one, वो जो 14 घंटे कर रहे हैं ना, you're looking at other people. वो क्या create कर रहे हैं? What's happening? What's the new trend? What is this? You don't need to do that. If you are authentic to your own self, you'll be a person who will be quite happy doing things. Of course, I watch others, but I do it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So first of all, you don't need to. Are people very harsh on influencers? It comes with the turf. You can't run away with it from it, okay? Every celebrity, let's take a Bollywood example. वो जो paparazzi से भाग रहे हैं, वो जो airport पे suddenly हाथ डाल रहे हैं. We know, they know, everyone knows, other than maybe a very small percentage, it's all fake. Airport pe no one is discovered. Who knows which flight? You really think paparazzi is standing there 12 hours?
You only informed. Your
You
PR
inform,
informed.
your PR informs. And then for you to put out that, okay, this absolutely, and like I'm saying, comes with the turf.
Yeah.
It's part of your persona. You're creating the persona. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing inauthentic about that. It's your persona. It's how you build yourself up, right? वो लोग को interview में अगर if you speak to them, and I just did an interview with someone and we had the same question, and that person very very clearly said कि the greatest problem is not that we are chased by fans and paparazzi. The greatest problem is when I will not be chased by fans and paparazzi. That is when I know I'm finished. Influencers that are actually saying कि यार बहुत ज़्यादा voice against you है, is because you have now made it. You're in a space where there is recognition. And when you have reached somewhere, when there is a lot of people that support you, if 1% is against you, if there is hatred for you, you're trolled for certain things you're doing, it's part of your turf. You've got to have thick skin because the business you're in is not for people that are thin skinned. You'll have to take it. So, are people very harsh on influencers? No. It's just the right amount that they deserve, that we all deserve. मेरे को भी, you study engagement, you're saying, I have one of the highest engagements as an influencer or in tech influencer. But my engagement is also negative. And it actually, other than the totally useless ones where people are only trolling for the sake of trolling, if someone comes and puts that kind of a comment, राजीव तुम तो हर चीज़ ही बोलते हो बहुत अच्छी है, I have great respect for that person.
And you read all the comments?
So look, I
Most of them.
have two simple rules. Every piece of content that goes out, the first 1 hour I will read everything, and 24 hours later I will again read everything for the next 1 hour. इससे ज़्यादा is not humanly possible.
Cover most of
but
it, yeah.
this is one of the reasons I believe I have better engagement, because if you see any video of mine, जो मेरे नाम से comments हैं, no social media team is allowed to put out anything, because I don't know what they will put out, right? Every comment is mine. And a lot of people, वो भी एक comment आता है, is it really you? Because how are you answering 100 people, right? But if you're not going to do that, then why are you in this business?
But Rajiv, one large difference I would say in comparison to Bollywood, but anyways, I'll just put my thought and throw it back to you, is there are 4.5 million influencers in India right now. So there are a lot of them. And some of us on the other side also think हम भी बन सकते हैं यार, बस मेरे 2 पोस्ट चल पड़े मैं भी बन जाऊंगा. Since a lot of us or a lot of the world wants to be there, do you think then that leads to an envy with who's already there? And then some of them are
How
rubbed
many
too hard.
people do you think right now want to be an actor? How many want to be a cricketer? How many want to be part of IPL? Maybe not as many as want to be influencers. यही वाले सवाल आपने मेरे से 2 साल पहले पूछा होता तो I would have said more people want to be a cricketer and actor. Today the answer is more people want to be an influencer, because you're seeing people just like you, right? And they seem to think that the work is easier. But first of all, you'll have to work as hard to become a cricketer as an influencer today. बहुत काम करना पड़ता है to be at the top of your game, right? And the second big myth, which I just want to clear, is this thing that a lot of people put out, you're one viral video away from being famous. ये 3 साल पहले खत्म हो गया था. Today, people see a viral video and they move on. They'll not follow you. They want to see consistency. They want to see value. They want to see क्या तुमने उनकी life में change किया. Just because you danced very well to one, you will have those people watch you. You'll get 5 million views. You'll get 10 million views, right? You'll not get a follow. So if you see the percentage of things that YouTube and Instagram are taking out, viral videos to followers, that percentage is completely warped today. Small little videos that are getting 3,000, 4,000 views will get more followers if there is value in that than someone who got 5 million. So it's not easy being an influencer. The trolling and the hardship comes with the turf, and the envy that you get is only because an influencer seems just like somebody that you know. It's not going to be as easy though.
So you say it's as for any other industry?
Absolutely. I don't see any difference at all. Numbers ज़्यादा होंगे because everyone wants to be an influencer. मैंने तो IIT में एक अभी lecture दिया था, and I asked them how many of you want to work for, and I took 2-3 company names, some of the big ones. उस time Trump ने गड़बड़ नहीं की थी तो वो names अभी भी बड़े ही थे. Then I asked them how many people want to do a startup. So how many people want to work for another, got the least number of hands up. This is about 11 to 1200 IIT students. How many people want to work for another company? Lowest percentage. How many people want to do their own startup? Got a lot more. How many people want to be an influencer? Got the most. And these are IIT students. So everyone wants to be an influencer.
There's an aspiration for
and
sure.
in any field where there is a very large supply, very less demand, it is going to be hardship. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Great, Rajiv. Rajiv, also a question on the data. I mean, do you think that brands today are still obsessed with followers, engagements? Engagement is still fine, but followers as such. Whereas, since we discussed, the content is also not evolving. अभी भी बहुत लोग unbox कर रहे हैं. Do you think that obsession with followers needs to navigate forward now into meaningful engagement? Because we've seen brands talk to us and say, yeah, I am seeing an influencer, उसकी engagement rate बहुत अच्छी है. But they're not even talking about the product. They're talking about maybe a very pretty face. Ma'am, आपका phone number क्या है? Ma'am, they're asking questions to that pretty face rather than about the product. So do you think the obsession with just the numbers at a macro level needs to get deeper into meaningful engagement?
So nothing can actually make me feel better than this question and what you're saying. 100%. Problem ये है कि अभी भी brands में I think top 2 KPIs में एक followers ही होता है, right? I think it's also because it's easy, right? I think larger brands campaigns go through multiple levels. The top person, then a team, then another team, then maybe an agency, then somebody. बहुत सारे levels change होते हैं and everyone wants के when they present the data back, it's easier to comprehend and gets them a shabashi, right? तो engagement बड़ा मुश्किल होता है as a number to give, right? उस engagement number में वो phone number मांगा उन्होंने या मैडम I love you है या 3 hearts हैं या कुछ negative है, वो फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता, engagement है, right? Why did you take these 300 influencers, not the others? Because these 300 represent X million. Much easier number to give. I think it's a very, very problematic situation because abhi bhi followers is
So the obsession is there.
It is 100% there. And again, if I can just reach out to anybody, whether it's a brand or an agency or anybody that is working for a brand or an agency, the future is going to be hyperlocal. The future is going to be about influencers' credibility. And the third most important is only influencers that have a community will survive. तो अगर ये मेरे से बहुत सारे लोग पूछते हैं should I get into it now? इतने influencers हैं, I'm saying yeah, create a small community. A community that you engage with, a community that literally is loyal to you. One great community member is 100x of a follower, right? But people are not being able to understand that today. आज कोई भी anyone that is sitting angry कि मेरा I will do drastic things to get मेरे followers ज़्यादा नहीं है, मैं इतना अच्छा काम कर रहा हूँ, अगर बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे होते तो तुम्हारे followers आते. You're just doing अच्छा काम in your own mind. You're not doing anything different from others, right? Create the community and be loyal to your community, okay? Not loyal to a brand. And the brands will come, the money will come, the fame will come, the followership will come. लेकिन problem ये है कि people will do anything for the metric of followers and do nothing to create the community. If a brand was to come to you and to your this thing and say, we don't want pin code, we just want great communities, hyperlocal, and credible influencers who have community, with community being the most important thing. I am literally giving you a prediction, maybe 1-2 साल के बाद फिर से बैठ के इसका यही वाला इतना जो clip है इसको हम लोग फिर से एक बार देखेंगे. New people that are coming right now that are creating community are moving at the speed of light. And people that have huge followership, zero engagement, very poor viewing are not having any community at all. Otherwise, why would the community abandon you? It wouldn't have happened. So the future is, if you want to start today, create a community. कोई बात नहीं 100 लोग हों. उन्हीं के साथ 110 कर लो. Don't care about your follower number right now. That community, each one of them is your brand ambassador that will get you 1000x more. But first create that community. और brands को भी यही देखना चाहिए. The time of influencers and giving them a script and asking them to say what you want to say is over. Use the power of what they bring. Use their credibility to let them be authentic and let them create for their community. Yehi hai future. The brands that wake up to it will do very well. And the influencers and content creators that actually wake up to this will do very well. You will see an incredible amount of influencers completely and totally lose out. वो already हो रहा है पिछले 2 साल से. अगले 2 साल में बहुत ज़्यादा ये amplitude इसका बढ़ जाएगा, magnification इसका बढ़ जाएगा.
But do you also think it leads to a very important question brands ask us, and when we look at this entire ecosystem, that we look at, or do you look at long-term partnerships? For example, I am an influencer and I am a tech influencer, for example, and I am in a span of 6 months promoting all the 6 top brands. So where is my brand loyalty? I am an Apple guy, a Samsung guy, or XYZ guy. I am a nobody myself, right? Similarly, when you look at the other side, do you think both the brands and the influencers also move forward and look at long-term partnerships. I mean, if you remember Tiger Woods, it's Nike on the cap. So everyone thought Nike is his thing, right? And many other examples.
Right.
So do you think rather than this becoming one single transactional about one reel or one post or one story, both the sides of, while there has to be relevance on every relevant KPI you just said, but do you think long-term partnerships is something both the ecosystems should try to get into?
Okay, so again, I'm going to be very contrarian out here. It doesn't really apply for tech. It does apply for a lot of other things because वो बहुत stable environments हैं. Tech बहुत dynamic environment है. If I have a long-term partnership with X brand, doesn't mean that X brand's every product will be great, right? And if we take brands and the sheer dynamic number of releases in a year, there can be a brand that can release 40 phones in a year.
There could be
What is the
one who does only one.
Yeah. So what is the probability कि वो सारे 40 बहुत कमाल के होंगे और मैं एक long term relationship में हूँ, so I तो will defeat my entire criteria of who I am, right? And there could be a brand that does something great, but I have no long-term relationship with them. But because I have a long-term relationship with another brand, they will no longer be talking to me or saying, listen, let's work together towards doing something. So I think tech may, I don't think there are any long.
But can you think of a brand who's done a great job? Any category?
I'm again going to say it, and this doesn't mean that because I'm from the world of tech, I'm saying it. I have seen an awakening in tech brands in the last 2 years that I have not seen in many others. I work in multiple other categories. उनका अभी वही way of thinking है, वही तरीके हैं, वही kind of content उनको चाहिए. If you actually tell them, this is not how I as a consumer would want to present or see your brand, they're like, no, yeah, but we'll get the others are still waiting for this only. I see it with hotels. वही pretty girl, वही, उनका हार पहना दिया, वही, rose petals, वही sauna, वही steam, वही swimming pool से she's coming out in a bikini. I can't even believe that hotels actually think that is going to be doing anything for them. That is just not the reason why anybody would come to you, right? But they continue to think that that's the best way. Restaurant में दो बहुत ही slow motion में smoke निकल रहा है, उसमें से बहुत गर्म कोई चीज़ आ रही है, suddenly some chef is... I mean, it is horrible to think that such evolved brands for hotels still do all of that. But in the world of tech, I don't think... I think there are a lot of brands that are doing a great amount of relationship building by creating influencer and media. And let me again take, एक और बहुत बड़ी लड़ाई आजकल होती है कि क्योंकि टेक में तो सबसे ज़्यादा ही है. There is a tech media, which is journalism. Yeah. And then there is a tech influencer. At one time, the tech media journalists were the absolute gods. और influencers को वो लोग कहीं पीछे बिठा देते थे लॉन्च में, दिखते भी नहीं थे. अब ये बिल्कुल उल्टा हो गया, right? The tech influencers and the 2 or 3 big names are given everything. And who is media? What is that journalist? उसका क्या नाम है? No one knows, right? This is one dichotomy of tech, right? But again, in the last 2 years, I have seen one, they used to have separate influencer meeting alag, journalist ki alag. Now we are all mixed and we love it because the kind of engagement we have is fantastic. Number 2, the relationship building is not what I'm talking about. Is the amount of engagement. Like just yesterday, one particular brand called about 70 different journalists and influencers in the tech world and spoke about a very big thing that is happening as a preview, but there's no engagement with any of us. 70 ke 70, we've been left to our own thing. Look, we're not engaging with you. There are no deliverables. There is nothing. This is something interesting we are doing. Here's our engagement with you. Ask us any question. And बहुत important चीज़ ये थी, they said, don't worry about how harsh the question is. Just bombard us with it. I'm seeing a lot of this happening. I'm seeing a lot of maturity in tech brands, their relationship building, the kind of events that they do, the people that are invited out there. बहुत ज़्यादा democratize हो रहा है. And I'm loving it. And I'm hoping others will follow because I think tech woke up to this because, it's very, very true. I'm going to say this out right now. So one bad review can actually influence, right? And brands that are very, very aware of that are the ones who made major mistakes, right? Yes, it can, right? But it doesn't become the reason why you do everything else. It's the same as one troller should not be making you change your content next time. I think if the brand believes in themselves, they will get through it very easily.
But connecting with the audience, Rajiv, doesn't the audience also really wants to know what does Rajiv use? That there was a very famous, miss a couple of years ago when a brand ambassador promoted a different, product, and at the bottom it was sent from an iPhone, and that trended.
वो बहुत सालों से होता
हो
है.
रहा है.
उसके बाद कई ब्रांड्स ने जो है वो safeguards भी
Right?
डाले हैं
So
कि
since I know you are from the tech side, obviously, and you will say that I can't exclusively work with one, but if some of your audience, because that's where we all believe lies the real value, says, "Sir, आप खुद कौन सा phone use कर रहे हो?" Then,
तो मैं ना यूजली इसको एक मजाक में वापस करता हूँ.
but this is a common question you've been asked.
For everything, for every single thing, which phone, like if I, and I'm going to come back to that. एक और ये normal होता है कि if I say something very, very interesting about an iPhone, आप तो Apple camp में हो. If I say something very, very nice about, let's say, a Samsung or a Vivo or a OnePlus, you're an Android person. So first of all, they always have camps for me, right? Because I've been doing it for too long for people not to, right? And the second part of it, which becomes, I think, even more critical, is that everyone wants to know which phone, which TV, which laptop, this thing, which is why you will be very surprised to know that every year I say no to at least 30 to 40 brand ambassadorships. And the brand ambassadorship is not me endorsing the product, just me using the product. They say, just be seen with our laptop, just be seen with our phone, just be seen with our product as this thing. Post 3-4 pictures of you watching TV at your house, or TV hamara hona chahiye, right? Show me a single thing I have done in the last 18 years where I have ever said, this is my phone, this thing. What I always say is, your question is wrong. You should say, which phone am I using today? Because I've got to review them all. I do not put out a single review of a phone, laptop, this thing, if I have not used it a minimum of 10 days. So 10
days minimum.
Minimum. So if there is a brand that comes to me saying, my launch is in 3 days, I'm like, okay, I'll do a long-term review. But
So genuinely use it for 10 days.
How can I review it without using it? So I will actually, once we are done with this, I'll show you the 3 other phones that are with me right now. There is one main phone, and I have 3 other phones with me right now. Right?
Which are under the review.
Which are constantly circling. It's not possible to be able to say something authentic unless I can actually experience it myself, right? And again, I am not exclusive in this. Look, if you're a tech influencer, you must have a lot of passion for tech. Otherwise, I say, there is no other world where even politics, even sports, where the amount of information that comes to you is relentless. You go to sleep at night, you wake up in the morning, half the tech world has changed. You can't keep up with it if you don't have passion. And I'm saying there are people who are more passionate than me. Big names, small names, people that are unknown, people that are very famous. वो एक टाइम पे 12 14 products अपने हाथ में लेके चलते हैं. उनके bags भरे होते हैं. And when we sit down and we start talking, 2 hours have passed and we don't even know, because we're constantly trading information about, did you feel, is it true? Did I think that? मैंने ये किया है, ये हो गया, तुम्हारे phone में भी ये हो रहा है, तुम्हारे laptop. It is a very passionate community and we are led by that fire. And I am not the only one who does it. I think there are at least 10 other influencers that put in way more time in experiencing gadgets before they will take out a review than even me. But we are a minor part of that community. Not everybody does.
Some recent campaigns you've done, Rajiv.
Right.
We've just done some research.
Okay.
Oppo, Realme, Apple, Amazon, Flipkart, Samsung, Xiaomi, Lenovo, Redmi, Nothing, OnePlus, Maruti Suzuki,
Right.
Google, Symphony, Bolt, Ray-Ban, Motorola. Some of the names my team.
Like I said, many lifestyle products within.
Yeah.
Right.
So when a brand approaches you, could be tech, non-tech, how do you approach? Obviously, you said you've said no at times to some endorsements as well.
To quite a few.
Yeah.
I know everyone here who will be in my thing will say the exact same thing. But for me, it is actually true. See, I'll tell you what, I have a very simple criteria. The criteria has been from the first day that I did my first Gadget Guru show. What problem does this gadget solve? Okay. If it's not really something that is being done, okay. For instance, if you've taken a few names out there, right?
Like maybe a car brand.
Right. So when Maruti came to me, my question, and literally it is my opening question when a brand takes a meeting with me, I'm like, what is the problem you're solving with this? It also forces the brand to come a little prepared to some influencers, because this is a question I hope a lot of other influencers also ask.
Some of them do ask.
Right? If it's not really solving a problem, I don't have much passion to do it, right? If it's part of a larger campaign, it's okay. But if it's a single campaign, mostly I will say no to it, because it's not really... See, let's put it this way. I have far more work than I can handle. So let's say I have the luxury of saying no. And I will absolutely agree that 99% people don't, okay? I do more organic than work with brands. That is my own way of looking at it. And there is a selfish reason to do it, right? The selfish reason to do it is you get far more views for pure organic than anything else. And a lot of influencers should wake up to that, okay? You've got to keep to your core community who are expecting it from you. So jitne aap organic kar sakte ho, like, I work with the government to do things like top cybercrime and scams.
WhatsApp वाला
तो मेरे को लोग अब स्कैम गुरु बुलाने लग गए यार, तुम तो यार हर 10 दिन बाद एक नया स्कैम बता देते हो. But
you recently also did for hand dryers.
Yeah, right.
But do you think when you talk about a hand dryer, it goes a little
against my this thing?
Audience at times ये यार ये राजीव सर क्या बता रहे हैं?
हाँ, ये बता रहे हैं, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा उसका फायदा, if you take the only metric that I care for, is that video has maybe more engagement than my last 5 videos. And I am still talking about that the technology of the hand dryer is creating.
But is it like really well researched when you say something out of tech?
Yeah. So if it's not purely a gadget, if I'm not reviewing it, I have to have at least 2 scientific journals that have actually spoken about it, and at least 1 minimum peer-to-peer review before I will ever take it forward. And these are things that I put in my caption. Okay, if you want to read more, here's...
But you're at least not naming a brand. Yeah. You're saying generally about a hand dryer.
So if I've said that when you go into a public area and you use a hand dryer, तो वो जो air suck कर रहा है वो कहाँ से आ रही है?
वहाँ से आ रही है. I saw that video.
बहुत fecal matter है, इतने सारे लोग हैं वहाँ पे, उनकी जो breath है, उनके जो infections हैं, जो bacteria है, जो virus है, आपने soap use किया, बहुत अच्छी तरह किया, and उसके बाद आपने हाथ वहाँ डाल दिया, your hand is...
But the hand dryer manufacturers must say, यार,
So like I said,
it's not a brand defluence, but in a way it's an industry defluence.
It is an industry, this thing. But what I really hope and feel is every hand dryer has a filter. And I did point out that even when I've gone into airport bathrooms, there's always a guy out there, the guy who keeps the place clean. I've always asked him before I did this video for the last 2 months before. I said, "Yaar, iska filter kabhi saaf karte ho?" He said, "Sir, usme filter hai." All I'm asking is, in the same way there is a certificate that elevator companies put कि इसकी servicing of this elevator was done because it is bad for your... Why can't they have a small certificate saying filter was changed? Once the filter is changed...
But it's amazing to hear that you're saying it got far more engagement. Maybe your audience also feels that Rajiv is coming and talking about something which is for us.
Why would they not care about something where they're using a piece of technology, not realizing that it's going the exact opposite of what they were using? Purpose ही उसका अलग हो गया ना, right? So again, my answer back to you about what we originally started this was, कि if a gadget is solving a problem, I'm very passionate about it. If there is something new that I feel will help, a lot of people were asking for it. A lot of people saying, I wish I had a gadget, or when will this brand also bring this? Because they are loyal to that brand. I'm very happy to take it forward. But if it's a boring product, it's an incremental change, I don't
Looking back, do you feel on the same line? Do you feel that यार ये मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए था? Do you have, and don't name the brand, or if you want to, but do you have any memory that ये तो मैंने क्यों करा, आगे से मैं ये वाली कैटेगरी में तो काम नहीं करने वाला है, ये वाले ब्रांड के साथ मैं काम नहीं करने वाला, because my audience just didn't relate to what I just said. Is it happened often, or?
I have a lot of regret for a lot of stuff I have done Not all of it is.
Can you name top 1 or 2 if you want to?
I'm not going to name any because every one of them has been a learning experience for me, because you take...
At least tell the category or what happened.
No, every category. There can be a phone. There can
But what would have been the specific reason? I mean, यार ये वाले में ये हो गया यार, ये नहीं होना चाहिए था यार.
I'll tell you. I'll actually name one. Makes it easy for me, and people will say, "But Rajiv is playing very safe." But I think it just makes sense for me. For instance, I did something with BlackBerry. Okay, when it was the BlackBerry, and if you were a smartphone user,
I had a BlackBerry back then. Yes.
I don't know anybody who owned a good phone from 2003 to 2009 and did not own a BlackBerry. Everyone did. BlackBerry came out with a tablet. And I thought it was यार अब तो लाइफ बदल गई है कि वो बड़ी स्क्रीन आ गई है और वो भी ब्लैकबेरी से उससे. It was an absolute turd. But I was so attracted to the idea that
your review was like, it's a wow product.
Because I felt like this is going to be, मैं इसमें movies देख पाऊंगा. I got so seduced by my own thought process. I just went out and out saying, I think I must have done on Gadget Guru, on Cell Guru, then my 1 month.
This is
review.
2000.
I think 8 or 9 mein hoga.
8, 9 hoga.
And they had already started to have problems, right? It had a terrible processor. It had a very bad battery life. These are the two things I remember. But I was overlooking all that because of my own excitement around a category of a brand that I loved, right? Great regret, because I'm telling you, including I'm taking one person's name that everyone will relate with, right? Both the Deol brothers. Okay? So, one of them is a very good friend of mine. And he met me in London. Okay? At a store. He said, "You're out here, yaar. Meko tablet khareedni." I said, "Don't even think about it."
BlackBerry.
Whenever he meets me, even now he tells me, "तुमने क्या बकवास खरीदवाया था?" उसके बाद से I have never ever listened to a single product review of yours. So one bad review can be bad for a brand.
So you didn't.
Can
maybe
be worse
you
for an influencer.
overestimated what it may do.
No,
Or
it was
got excited by
it
the.
was my own excitement of a product that I loved. I lived and breathed BlackBerry. Okay, it was my everything. जब उन्होंने निकाला tablet, I thought
back in this BlackBerry Messenger was the first time you could get to instant messaging.
Look, they have done things which we all today forget, but a lot of what we do today is what BlackBerry created.
Yeah. Interesting example. Rajiv, also on tech, non-tech. I mean, obviously your voice resonates absolutely with tech mostly. But when you look at non-tech, and we've spoken about it in bits and pieces, but a little more strongly on that question, when you look at a non-tech collaboration, since you've done few, what are the things you look at, or do you say कि यार ये तो बिल्कुल नहीं करूँगा, बिल्कुल ही बात नहीं बन रही है यार, or you say नहीं यार, this I can say because as you said, no one is going to a Apple store to buy an iPhone naked, तो कपड़े तो डाले हैं, मैं उसकी बात कर सकता हूँ. But do you see some categories यार बिल्कुल नहीं घुसना, and when you maybe promote something which is out of tech, do you at times see very low engagement rates, or what is the overall thought?
I see very high engagement rates because most people are saying, why are you doing this? Okay, so वो बड़ी high engagement rate होती है.
So आता है question.
हाँ, वो तो a lot of people will say that, listen, it's about expectations. I came to see your video because I thought you'll talk about tech. What are you talking about? I don't want to. One has to understand that, like I said, if the profile doesn't fit, it doesn't work. Okay, I work with 2 clothing brands. Okay, where their ask is only for me to wear their clothes, not even write about it. Right? A huge amount of people then will write nice jacket, nice shoes, nice this, nice that, and as an answer to that, I do answer saying from so and so. So that's how I think it's an authentic way of doing it, right? I do cross-platform work with, let's say, another influencer, maybe a travel one or a food or something like that. In that part, I can do something very, very interesting because I can talk about the tech. Cars is a huge passion.
So, thoda tech ka angle hona chahiye is what you're saying.
See, if I am only doing something which has no relation, then I'm being very, very wrong to my community because end of the day, that is their expectation, right? So, agar main car ke bare bhi kar raha hu, I mainly talk about the tech in a car. But the funny thing that has happened is that now there is more tech in a car than the normal automobile. Who cares about horsepower in an EV? No one. But the kind of luxury which is inside. कितने speakers हैं, क्या वो है, does it have Apple AirPlay, and how's Android Auto, what is the kind of experience, screen का क्या size है. You know, if I talk about the top 5 reasons why people buy cars today, you will be thinking I'm talking about a tech product. Can I tell you? You'll be very surprised, okay? What's the size of the screen? Now, that's usually to do with phone or something like that. Okay, what's the processor inside? Right?
Not the BHP.
You'll be very surprised that those are not the top 5 reasons why even car brands today.
But the power, the safety.
So the power, usually if it's an EV or what a lot of people have started liking right now are hybrids, it again comes down to that some part of that will have a lot of tech involved. So, you know, top 5 criteria to buy are also changing. Most cars have become very generic in their category and price. So what do companies do? If you see, I'll take an example. Mahindra went all out with their first 2 EVs, but their overall battery and how kitna degi as in mileage is quite on par with others. It's the amount of tech that they put in that completely changed the equation. So buying criteria is a lot to do with tech. So a lot of people say, are you talking about a car or a gadget, right? So there's a very clear cross-platform there. I am doing more work in auto than I have ever done before, even though it's a personal passion, but I can't manifest it. It's coming now because people understand that the criteria to buy is tech. Criteria to buy is not typical stuff that people ask.
So whenever there is a non-tech category, you want a tech play for sure.
In
most cases,
there has to be some sync. Otherwise, it बहुत jarring हो जाता है, right? And I also wouldn't be able to really pull it off.
There has been a huge thing about Make in India, Rajiv. Tech में एक question है. Do you think there's a brand on the tech side which is really doing a great work when it comes to Make in India and not assembling, manufacturing? There's a very thin line between people assembling and calling it, we're doing it Make in India. Do you think there's a brand which is coming up and you say, yaar, abhi itna naam nahi hua hai, maybe they're still a little underrated, but what they're doing is genuine Make in India?
So, you know, the fallacy out here is that distinction that you gave, ke, you know, are they assembling in India or are they making in India? Pehli cheez to ye hai ke we need to move away a little. And actually, assembling in India is not easy. Okay. So a lot of consumers, a lot of people are very dismissive of companies that assemble in India. You shouldn't be. It's not easy to do it, right? There are a lot of contract manufacturing, huge companies. I am not kidding, Sahil. Those companies are sometimes now in India better than China and Korea. The amount of incredible technology and innovation that they have put in, amount of capex, amount of money they have put in to create those giants that they have become. And then the companies that go to them to get something assembled, if they are doing copycat design and copycat product and saying, ये मेरे को China में मिल रहा है, इसको disassemble करके आप यहाँ बना दो, those are crap companies. But a lot of great companies are saying, we do our own design, our design house is different, our R&D is different. We need a company to make. Zaruri nahi hai that you have to have your own factory. I think that's one part that a lot of people in tech should understand कि कोई बहुत बड़ा काम नहीं आपने कर लिया by making a big factory. You may be going away from your core, right? Your core is to get a great product to a consumer at the price that it deserves. And for that gadget to enhance that person's life. By setting up a huge factory, 4 साल उसमें लगा दिए, ये कर दिया, वो कर दिया, you've achieved nothing, right? So first and foremost, I am a strong believer that don't go away from those companies that assemble. Number 2, because those companies assemble, in the beginning, assembly was 100% import all components. Because these companies became big, we are now at 40-50% of things that are made in India. A lot of brands ask their partners, you'll have to set up a small little thing here. Large brands came in here and now small brands are doing the same thing. This is the same way as it happened in China. China did not one day wake up to be the world's greatest. Japan se sara ye hua ke Japan started bringing it. Japan gave away a lot of their technology to them with huge mistakes and certain IPs were, copied. But India is doing it the right way, right pace. कुछ गलत काम नहीं कर रहे हैं हम लोग यहाँ पे किसी की IP चोरी नहीं कर रहे हैं ठीक तरीके से हम लोग कर रहे हैं. This is the process. You start from assembly to becoming but you can't make everything. There is no company in the world that makes all components of any product. You can name any. वो कहीं ना कहीं से कुछ ना कुछ तो आएगा ही आएगा, right? So it's okay even if you're assembling. So first of all, I think we're in a great place in India where now we manufacture certain products that are sold all over the world, right? They are assembled here in India. Parts of the components are made in India, and we are very, very, very competitive. The quality of that product is world class. So it's great, right? Are there companies which are authentically Indian that are doing a combination of assembly and R&D? The typical ones are the boat and the noises. I give, Aman and the Khatris and all of these, कि इन लोगों ने एक बहुत छोटे आइडिया को I am sure when I speak with Aman, even he says I had no idea I would anywhere be close to what I am doing today. वो तो हो ही नहीं सकता था. They started off with a good idea. What they did in their first 2-3 years doesn't matter. What matters is what they're doing right now. They've been able to do good products at the right price and introduce those into Indians' lives who never ever would have otherwise done it, right? At one time, India में अगर TV चाहिए होता था घर में, तो it had to be a Sony, right? How many people had a Sony TV? Less than 1% of the entire country. If the same thing had prevailed today, the number of people that would have ever had TWS earbuds in their ears would have been 1%. So they brought it to everybody. Is the quality great? It's getting there now. Have people who tried it and realized, wow, this is a great world, I can have portable music, will move on to something better. And these companies could either say, hum aapko de denge, or they'll move to another brand. So I think there's a lot of great work going on in India. There are a lot of companies that are doing fully make in India, which is the misnomer. कि वो make कितना है और assembly कितना है. I don't think we should care. I think it's a great way forward to where we will eventually reach.
What's the biggest myth about an Indian tech consumer which the brands still
consumer
don't understand? And if you were made the CMO of a large brand for say 6 months,
okay,
what would you immediately jump on to say, I'm going to change this for the entire content influencers?
Okay, so these will be two separate answers. The biggest myth that brands continue in the world of tech is that India is only a price conscious market. इससे बड़ा myth हो नहीं सकता, right? India is a value conscious market for sure, but if you are able to get them a great product, they are very loyal. It is an important distinctive factor. In many other things, we are who can do better at the right price. But in India, technology, especially after COVID, people are very clear because लोगों ने बहुत सफ़र किया. वो जो फुल पेज एड इन द पेपर आया था कि ये गॉड फ़ोन है, उन्होंने अपने सन या डॉटर के लिए वो ले लिया. फिर वो उनकी क्लासेस हुई, वो फ़ोन हीट अप कर रहा है, बैटरी लाइफ बकवास थी, स्क्रीन इतनी ख़राब थी that they could not see what the teacher was actually teaching on this thing. A lot of people suffered. So now people want the best for themselves and want the best. By best doesn't mean the most expensive. But if you can, in a category and price, give them a better product, they will be loyal to you for a very long time, right? And the second big myth is that they are not loyal in tech. Gen Z is not very loyal in tech, right? They want a lot more than a brand promise. But most other Indian consumers are very loyal if you give them one, a great product, second, great service. India में brand consciousness and value consciousness is ज़्यादा service है. You know, if you are a brand that comes into India and you're using third-party service centers all over, they'll never come back to you a second time. It's a very small, silly way of launching out here. You've got to have solid service for a product that will need it. So that part it takes care. If I became CEO or CMO of a tech company, I think the first thing I would do is that all my campaigns would become no newspaper, very less TV, micro influencer, regional influencer, largest amount of money. Then I would come down to credible influencer, 2 or 3 that matter.
Large keywords.
Right? And micro influencers where I don't influence them at all. I would really like to dekhte hain what they can actually do. It would be And I wouldn't even call it an experiment, because micro influencers are some of the most incredible content creators I think I have seen. So sometimes you just marvel at the incredible stuff that they can put out here. And because they are given that opportunity, they are so willing to do something much more than somebody else who's just doing it anyway. Right?
They're much more accommodating in the entire experience as well. Is
So
what you're saying.
I find and the fact that in that entire ecosphere, I would only give the agency and all the people who are reporting to me a single thing: if this person is not community driven, I don't care how the numbers are. They will not be part of my campaign. So as a CMO, मैं ये 6 months में नहीं, ये day 1 में मैं कर दूंगा और फिर मैं resign कर दूंगा and I'll go back to what I
So
love
no
doing.
TV, very less print, and
No, some TV.
but CTV, or do you believe in CTV or the traditional?
I
Because I
am-
talk to a lot of people who work with me, my colleagues. They don't even have any D2H now at home.
So even I think that it's predominantly not really required.
Yeah.
But some TV,
Some
because
TV.
I think some part of it still resonates with people. I think news channels still do. May not be with a certain age group, but there are others who are,
Watching it.
absolute loyalists. वो किस तरीके से consume कर रहे हैं doesn't matter. But the rest of it would be predominantly. I would say the ratio right now is super skewed. I know that influencers get a very large part, online gets a very large part, but I would just basically make it predominantly about what I just said.
Lovely.
And the pyramid would be inverted.
I think the entire community of us is very, very happy to hear that. Yeah. Rajiv, quick ones now. You think in the Indian tech influencer space, who do you think are a couple of highly overrated influencers, if you want to name them, and couple of them you think do exceptional job, but aren't given that much amount of credit? So
See, there are, like I said, to take names of those people that are doing a great job. Let's start off with those. See, I think Arun Tracking Tech does a great job.
Yeah.
I think TechVisor does a great job. I think there are so many people that are doing a fantastic job. Are they pivoting at the speed that they should be? Maybe not. वो थोड़ा सा I think है, but they are very authentic people. They are very passionate about what they do. बहुत सारे लोग हैं. Arvind है एक, right?
yeah.
I think he's excellent in what he does. So there are a lot of the obvious names are those that have a huge amount of following but have no engagement, and there is a reason for it, right?
you won't name any one of
See,
them,
look,
just in case you want to.
I'm sure you already
You
know.
can skip it if you don't.
Yeah,
want.
I mean, because we are a community that actually hang around and talk about this thing. But it's not as if I don't talk to them about it. And, in the beginning, what I used to get back is that, why do you need to come and tell me? But now, these very people come and say, yaar, मैंने कुछ try किया था, ये भी काम नहीं किया. And, I'm not really.
Yeah.
So, are these people not aware? That's the shocking part. 3 of them are not aware at all. They are living in a fool's paradise of their own hype जो उन्होंने अपने लिए
But
इतनी
some of
create
them
कर-
are getting aware now. I'm again not naming a couple of the large ones. They've not got any of these large festives now with BBTs and all. So
Yeah,
some
but
of them are waking up to the fact
did
that
that lead to their ego hurting and they want vengeance against those brands, which is what they always do, or did it make them self-reflect? It's a very big question.
Yeah.
Very big question. और मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ पिछले 2 साल से I've seen zero self-reflection from them. They are only, इसने मेरे साथ ये किया ब्रांड, देखो मैं इनको सेट करता हूँ मैं बिल्कुल. I will teach them a lesson, and they have done it, and they have lost even more, but still they have not woken up to it. But many of them are. There's a lot of self-reflection coming in, lot of pivoting happening, lot of change happening. But the really good ones are all the new guys. I'm not talking younger, older. इसमें that part doesn't come in at all. The agility, the speed, the content, the kind of things they are doing, the effort they are putting in. One reel can sometimes take them 3 days to shoot. They don't care. They don't care about what, that impact will be. The incredible work is only happening with the new people.
yeah,
And that's where the real excitement is.
absolutely.
And that pivot, again, will be needed by a lot of people, including me. Will we be able to do it? I know one person who
We'll
will.
come to it now on the pivot
Me.
as well, a future pivot. So Rajiv, outside of tech, little bit navigating onto the non-tech, in the last few conversation points, who do you think are some of the most convincing influencers you've seen? Maybe a couple of them on lifestyle first. When I say convincing, also, why do you like them? Because tech we can understand remains.
So I'll break it up into 2-3 different categories because those
So
are some of the
lifestyle,
biggest-
travel, and fitness.
Okay, chalo, theek hai. Let's go with these then. So I'll start off with travel. I cannot stand anymore people that are still using transitions as the main reason to actually become a bigger this thing. Haat dala, khola, I'm in Italy. And, you've got to stop. You've got to now know.
I so agree.
Okay. Gimmicks no longer work. Cinematic is different from gimmick. Transitions is different from creativity. Okay. Use it, but there must be a reason. There are still people who use transitions for a great amount of creativity that actually adds value. So, pretty face or not, I don't care. Let's start with travel. I really care about what do you say about the place you go. Whether it's a city, whether it's a hotel, whether it's just a smaller, or there are 5 reasons why. Jo bhi aapka hai, it doesn't really matter. I would really like, if a person can tell me कि इस city के ना bathrooms में बहुत गड़बड़ है, or here's a solution to the fact that drinking water can be a major problem, or in this city, beer is more cheaper than water, but don't tell me what is known, okay? Tell me, but here's how I found. Help people to be a little bit more. I am not looking at travel just for pretty places and pretty faces.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my experience when I reach that city should be maybe 10% better than someone who didn't watch your content. अगर मेरे experience को आपने 10% better नहीं किया, you've completely failed. So let's take an example. Tanya Khanija. Extremely authentic. One of the only rare people who I see who actually says, here are 3 reasons why this hotel is amazing, but here are some suggestions I have for them. Right? A person who does it very subtly in lifestyle, Freddie Birdie. Right? वो अपने 8-10 सिर्फ text डाल देगा, but those 8-10 pieces of text have a learning for a hotel that I don't know why hotels don't get it. So he's more lifestyle, more, he'll do a movie also, he'll do a restaurant review also, but he does it in his own style. So Freddie Birdie. Tanya does a great job because she literally will tell you in a city 3 secrets that you didn't know. And that's what I really want to know. A few tips and tricks. I don't care if she does 5 more sponsored, but pieces of her content that come out that really help me and make me take a decision कि ये जाके experience करना चाहिए यार. Right?
Excellent.
So that's fantastic. You said fitness. Fit with JC.
Fit with GC.
JC, right? Gym bro nahi hai wo. His whole life is not around protein shakes. Okay. Very authentic voice. No de-influencing. He's not taking protein shake manufacturers and saying you are this thing. He's saying here's the reason why you should not be doing this. Here's the reason you should be doing this. He's very clear cut. And every single piece of content he puts out has something I can actually do to change my life. So if I pride myself in the fact that when I put out content, you can actually take decisions. ये मेरे लिए है, ये मेरे लिए नहीं है, मेरे को ये खरीदना चाहिए, नहीं खरीदना चाहिए. And here's a reason why it's a great product but not right for me. So if I take pride in the fact that I do this, he should take pride in the fact that he never leaves a person without an action plan. So it's not just great piece of information given to you. तुम करो जो करना. He then tells you at the end of it, here's what you should do. How can you incorporate it in your life? Even he's spoken about something as simple as breathing, right? He will debunk all the pseudo crap about breathing कि वो तुम्हारी life को यहाँ से यहाँ पहुँचा देगा, meditative हो जाओगे तुम, तुम्हारा. He just says this is the reason why it will actually help you because your vagus nerve inside your body will actually come alive. And that's it. No more.
So
it is not going to make you...
Subject matter. He's a subject
and he's very clear and he is a subject matter expert. Every time I see some video of it, I told you I don't spend too much time on social media. Something I'm telling everybody, it's suicide. कि मैं अपने उसको, लेकिन it is true. I'd rather you come and watch 6 people that make a little 1% change in your life than to watch 600 people who make your life 10 times worse, right? Lifestyle, I told you, I like, Freddie Birdie is a very interesting person. not truly lifestyle, but life. I am still a huge fan of Food Farm, 100%. But I've already told you that if he can take a few corrective measures, see, the crusade he has taken on is not easy. And because he right now may not be having the right people that are telling him the right things, doesn't change who he is. I've spent enough time with that man to know कि वो सचमुच बहुत authentically India आया था बड़ा अच्छा जॉब छोड़ के इस एक crusade को लेने crusade उसने बहुत
But he
अच्छा-
launching his own product in the end.
See,
Did it
I think a
defeat
lot of
his-
people make a mistake. Tech में भी कुछ लोगों ने यही किया
But
है.
did it defeat his entire purpose? It's like an Anna Hazare movement where you become a politician eventually as Arvind Kejriwal, I would say.
Right. So he said, and we've had this conversation, he said he did it because no one else was willing to do it. Right. But I am saying that he could have become a consultant to a company. I have a feeling he's intelligent enough to know where he's going wrong. I think he's made a major change. Can I tell you one thing? I know brands today who say, ये कैंपेन फूड फार्मर के साथ कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं दे देगा हमारे को. Food companies who actually go through a checklist before launching a campaign. It's a very big thing. It's a huge thing to be able to come into that space.
That's an interesting one.
कि-
I've heard brands who want to work with him and say कि ये हमारे collaboration में हमारे बारे में ना कुछ बोल दे.
हाँ, right, हाँ,
वो-
तो
they have a fear.
हाँ, वो है, लेकिन वो द फैक्ट के कंपनीज अवेयर हो गई हैं, तो थोड़ा सा जो डर है उनके अंदर कि कुछ हम गलत ना करें और गलत ना बोल दें, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है. इट्स नॉट अ easy. What he has achieved is a lot. I think he's intelligent enough to course correct. And I'm really hoping that after and I know he'll be watching this right now.
I hope so.
Oh, yes, he will be.
I'll love to host him. I mean, in the coming weeks.
So the invite is already with you. All the things that he said about you and all the things I've said about me, come and correct.
And couple of closing questions. It's been a fabulous conversation, Ravi. I mean, 2-3 non-tech brands you want to work with, aspire to work with. I mean, if you say, "Yeah, I can do some great work with them," I know you have no dearth of collaboration, but still, yeah, these 2-3 brands, I mean, I would love to work with them, and maybe some of them are also listening to it.
So, I am really looking forward to, and I already am. Again, I'm not really going to talk about it right now. I don't want to take away their thunder. But there is a lot of great work happening where, see, tech now is being used in everything. आप कोई भी चीज़ में टेक डाल दो, वो एलिवेट हो जाता है, राइट? जैसे कि लोग कहते हैं कि किसी भी चीज़ में अब एआई का नाम डाल दो तो वो कंपनी का, अगर वो आईपीओ कर रही है तो आईपीओ बेटर हो जाता है, वो स्टार्टअप है तो उसको फंडिंग ज़्यादा मिल जाती है. सो देयर इज दैट लिटिल मैजिक फॉर्मूला, द वर्ड टेक यूज्ड इन एनीथिंग. इफ यू से दैट दिस इज अ मोर techie shirt because the linen doesn't wrinkle even though it is 100%, you can sell it at twice the price, right? If you say this protein shake has this science and tech in it, you can sell it at twice. Anything that you add tech to can become something which is more premium, more accepted by brands. Science and tech dono mein. I am actually working with a few companies who are authentically bringing tech into products that never had tech before. And, it is a great space to be in. One is a clothing company where they're doing literally space age futuristic fabrics. One of the fabrics is a full sleeve t-shirt, which is guaranteed to be the only thing you need to wear at even minus 10 degrees. And it works, and I have tried it. I've tried it at minus 11. I only wore that t-shirt, no jacket, no sweater, nothing else. And I was totally comfortable. Game changers, and makes a big change in your life because, कई लोग जाते हैं and, sub-zero temperature and 4-5 layers में भी they're having so use tech where it should be. Stop using gimmicks in tech where it shouldn't really be. Don't abuse the word tech in certain areas is one of the things I want to tell. Gimmicky tech से ज़्यादा बकवास कोई चीज़ नहीं होती और customers are very aware of it. Putting in AI into every single thing will not get you customers. Putting AI into a product where a person struggled. A lot of people say, मेरे microwave में AI की क्या ज़रूरत है, क्या पागलपन है, मेरे washing machine में. Most people that own a microwave and a washing machine don't use it themselves. So you have help in the house. Imagine if it is actually the AI makes sure that a person who's maybe not very well educated cannot go wrong. राइट तो चलो उनको 4 स्टेप हमको सिखाने पड़ते हैं, बट इमेजिन दे कैन नॉट गो रॉन्ग, right? It analyzes the food, it knows the weight of the food, what the food is, and what should be the next, wash cycle or heat cycle. ये सब अगर AI करे, it is a big game changer. But don't do it for gimmicky stuff, right? So there's a lot of very interesting things. But will I work with brands that don't have a real tech connection? Will I be a brand ambassador for a fashion or a clothing brand? Not really. I think I also have to be authentic to myself. I don't want to, smile into the camera and feel fake inside.
And Aji, lastly, Rajiv, where do you see the current ecosystem shifting in the next maybe 5 years, 10 years? Like we've seen a lot of shift in the last 2 decades now. Do you predict some, shifts in the coming 5-10 years? And then where do you want yourself to be positioned as we move forward?
So 10 is, in the current scenario, 10 is a lifetime. Things are changing too quickly, too fast.
Maybe let's break it down to 2.5 years, 5 years.
I'm also going to go with 2 to 3 years. Some of the myths, AI will absolutely ruin social media and content creation, absolutely wrong. It will enhance it, okay? You will still need authentic voices. It could help you to start an idea generation. It could be the starting point for a good script for you. It cannot be an end point. आपका जो भी पहला वो निकालता है, that should be just your brain में that light bulb going off. If you take that and put it out, वो इतना inauthentic आएगा कि you will lose followers on a daily basis. Those people that are saying कि oh, now I can have an avatar, AI avatar. Even if it is 100% authentic, it will never ever work, right? Will AI make editing easier? Yes. Will it make our B-rolls and our, cinematic look and our special effects? Of course. And use it. Why should you not, right? जो drudgery है content creation की, वो जितनी कम हो जाए, बहुत अच्छा है. There's nothing wrong with it. A single person could do the work of 10 people and become an independent content creator in a small town because he uses all the right technology and AI. What is wrong with that? बहुत अच्छी बात है. इसमें कोई डर की बात नहीं है. बहुत अच्छी बात है. हाँ, जिन 9 लोगों को जॉब मिलना था, they need to now think what they will be doing, and that is a wake-up call for everybody. Okay, you are now replaceable, right? But content creator will suffer because of AI? Absolutely not. Not in the next 3 or 4 years. Huge influence coming from single individuals that have not created community, they will be dinosaurs. Does not matter if you have 10, 15 million followers. If your community is not strong enough to be able to take that, so therefore that is gone. We spoke about it, I'm repeating it again. Brand ka wake up call was 5 years back. I still don't see it. Brands are still making the same mistake because वहाँ पे कोई अभी भी वहाँ पे in the chain of command अभी भी old school thoughts कहीं ना कहीं आ जाती हैं. And unfortunately, the chain of thought, I'm saying it as this thing as possible. Old school chain of thought is usually at the higher levels. And that is where the biggest mistakes are being made by brands. Don't force people to say what you want to say, then you don't need influencers. Don't take a credible voice and make him sound, fake. You are doing a disservice to your own product and to that person. Work with the right people that actually fit your right thing. The most important one that I'm going to say, because इसके लिए मेरे को बहुत severely criticize किया जाएगा, मैं अभी बोल रहा हूँ कि your followers on different platforms can be the same people, but they are different people when they come to different platforms. Same person following you on Instagram, same person on YouTube has apps, is a different human being when he comes on that platform. Some come for depth to a platform, some come for virality and fun and something that they want just 5 minutes of their life to feel a little bit better. Understand the platform, understand your audience. Neither these platforms nor this audience is permanent. अगर किसी ने मेरे को 2010 में बोला होता राजीव टीवी will be redundant, I would have laughed and laughed and laughed. We were kings. No one could come close. YouTube was a joke. Twitter was just a piece of place to get your news, right? 2010 में. So if I say right now, YouTube and Instagram are not the platforms that will be the only ones in 3 years from now, I will sound like a joke right now. 3 years from now, it's 2025, we're in the last fag end of it. By 2027, there will be at least 2 more huge platforms. They may not have the numbers at that point, but they will be the ones who will take us into the next 5 years, not only these. Right? But a lot of people say, "Arey nahi, we've reached that stage where the platforms have become too big." Do you know how much radio and TV dominated? At that time, between newspaper, radio, and TV, they controlled all communication, all media, 100%. You know the percentage now. No platform is forever. No influencer is forever. No content creator is forever. Platforms will pivot. You've got to pivot with them. Go where the audience is. They are your community, and be loyal to them.
Lovely, Rajiv. It's been a wonderful interaction with you, Rajiv.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me here and letting me speak what I want to.
And I think some of the things you've said have been a learning for even me, and I think the audience who's going to watch it. And I think thank you very much, Rajiv.
I hope. A lot of people say that I hope what I do helps one person.
It does.
I don't say that at all. I hope it helps a million people.
It will. Thank you very much, Rajiv.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. So I hope you had an interesting time hearing me talk a little bit and talk a little bit too much. But lots of very interesting people, interesting conversations will continue on IIGC Talks. So subscribe and follow and do everything that you're supposed to do to make sure you don't miss out on some incredible people that will come and tell you amazing things here.